Hey, story lovers. If you enjoy getting lost in powerful, emotional, or spine-chilling tales, make sure to subscribe and follow the channel. There's a new story waiting for you every week. We've made it through 3 episodes in the haunted halls of this hospital what staff whisper about as the corridor of death. Tonight, we continue with episode 4 to see what happens next to Daniel and Samantha. The two of them are trying to help others with problems that go beyond medicine, problems rooted in the spirit world. In the previous episode, Daniel and Samantha recounted the story of Dr. Vincent Koa, physician who died in this hospital more than 20 years ago. Daniel had always dismissed the supernatural, but now he was starting to believe, especially after he looked in on the woman in bed 3. Her blood pressure stayed low, her body was frail, and beyond the physical symptoms, there was something different, something spiritual. Samantha asked the orderly beside her. "Nurse Vanessa, do you feel like something is following that woman?" One night, Vanessa said she'd actually seen a small girl jumping on the woman's bed. After hearing about the woman's child, Daniel wanted to help but didn't know how to begin. He'd never believed, never learned any of this. From the moment Vanessa first set foot in this ward, she sensed the little girl's energy circling the rooms. She'd tried a few things of her own to keep the child from jumping on the patient's bed, but nothing worked. The thought began to nag her. What if that girl is the patient's own daughter? Vanessa tried to approach the woman several times, but the patient was guarded, quiet, and distant. There was never a natural way in. Then one day, the woman spoke first. "Ma'am, a few nights ago, was there a monk here chanting?" "Huh? How did you know?" "I don't know, I just felt it." "I'm sorry, did we keep you up?" "No, that's not it. I want to ask, do you know the monk? I need his help." It turned out the woman had quietly noticed what Daniel and Samantha had been doing. She'd even seen the prayer ritual they'd invited the monk to perform. But she was cautious to a fault, too careful to open up. Maybe her pain had grown too heavy to carry alone. And this time, she chose to reach out. Her plea for help was about the spirit world. That woman's name was Mrs. Parker. Years earlier, she had a bright, lively 5-year-old son. Because she needed to work to support him, she left him in the care of her cousin, Kelly Tran. She could only visit every couple of months. Then one change upended everything. Kelly got married and could no longer keep the boy. So he moved in with relatives on her husband's side. Mrs. Parker drifted from job to job. Whatever she could do and still make it back at night to check on her son. Each visit, she lived for the moment she could hold him. One night, she stepped out to buy food and came back to find the house too quiet. She searched every room and then she saw him, sitting motionless in a bathroom basin filled with water. She lunged forward and grabbed him, but his body was cold, his clothes heavy with water, and no breath came back. The loss tore her apart. After the shock, she unraveled sleeplessness, weakness, blood pressure crashing, waves of heat and chills. The symptoms piled on until she could no longer function. Within days, she was admitted to the hospital. She knew her illness wasn't only of the body, it lived in her heart. Since her child's death, she saw him running through the house at night, and even in the hospital, she still saw him. She didn't know if he understood he had died, only that he hovered near her, unwilling to leave. That day, she asked the monk to help pray so that her child's spirit could move on, and no longer cling to this world. After hearing her story, the monk was quiet for a long time. His intuition told him this wasn't a lie. He agreed to help. Mrs. Parker understood what was happening to her in a way she couldn't explain to anyone. She just hoped that after the monk's prayers, the child would be released, no longer following and tormenting her. That night, Daniel was on shift. He lay down to rest, called his mum, and drifted off. In the stillness of the ward, he heard it, the patter of little feet running, a child's light, slapping steps, the drip, drip of water, something climbing onto the bed. He jolted awake and saw a low silhouette at the headboard. He looked again to tiny feet stood right by his pillow. His whole body went heavy. His chest squeezed. He couldn't move as if a weight pressed square on his ribs. Then the little feet hopped, landing on him, pinning him. Daniel thrashed free of the sleep paralysis, gasping. Shaken and angry at himself, he thought, "What's happening to me? Why can't I sleep like a normal person?" He decided to bring the monk back to the hospital that very evening. After the chanting that night, Mrs. Parker was too weak to go to the temple, so Daniel went alone to see Monk Gabriel. The moment he stepped through the gate, something felt different. He walked deeper inside. The main hall was light and still. The quiet seemed to reach straight into his body, into his mind, into the deepest place in him. It soothed him and made him tremble. Standing before the altar, he recognized the scene from a dream he'd had. It was exact, too exact. He had to tell himself out loud, "This is real. This isn't a dream." He sat. His chest felt tight, as if an unseen pressure was settling there. The monk came out and spoke gently, calming him. What Daniel felt wasn't an illusion, the monk said. It was a natural state when a person's mind and spiritual energy brush up against each other. These experiences can come as images, sounds, a breeze. A bird call ordinary things that stir the deepest parts of us. Only then did Daniel truly open up. Monk Gabriel poured him tea. Daniel sipped in a quiet corner of the hall, feeling like he was becoming a different version of himself, the version who understood something he couldn't yet name. He asked about Mrs. Parker, the mother who'd lost her 5-year-old Dot. The monk smiled softly. "You mean Mrs. Parker? I remember. I met her and I gave her a spiritual gift. So, she's all right now?" Daniel asked. "It's not that simple," the monk said, pausing. "During the prayers, I didn't see one child's spirit. I saw two." Daniel froze. "Two? You mean she lost two?" The monk nodded. "Why didn't she say so? Why talk about only one? Why suffer like this?" Daniel pressed. "There may be something about the second," the monk said. "Something not simple. Something she doesn't want to speak out loud. I can't be certain, but I clearly saw two small souls." He explained that when he looked at the energy around Mrs. Parker, it was unmistakable. She had wanted to offer him a gift afterward. He refused, but she insisted a small bundle of cash. "Life has been hard for me," she said. "I don't have much, but this is my heart." He told Daniel he accepted her heart, and told her to keep the money for living. When Daniel returned to room 3, Mrs. Parker was gone discharged with her condition temporarily stabilized. Standing at the doorway, he felt hollow and blamed himself. "If only I'd gotten here earlier." He looked over at Samantha and noticed she seemed worn down. For the first time, the siblings had a true common ground to talk about. The spiritual Samantha had been open for a long time, able to see. Every night she saw different spirits, patients who died of disease, others who died in accidents. One night, a shape drifted through the corridor. Another night, a small child darted past. Once, a woman with a blood-smeared face stood in the doorway and begged, "Please, let me go, let me go." Samantha confessed that her own private pains had kept her quiet. She didn't want to burden Daniel, but what she'd been going through was too much, and she should have warned him earlier. "Keep the talisman Duke gave you," she said. "Don't ever take it off. Keep it on you, it will help." During the next shift, Daniel sat in the hallway, looking toward the spot where Dr. Vincent Koa had taken his life. Nothing strange today, but behind him, footsteps started to patter. A child's laugh, nails skittering lightly across the floor. A faint squeak keck, K-E-K dot. He sprang up and froze. His arms tingled uselessly at his sides. After a long breath, the feeling returned. The laughter grew closer. He forced himself back to the room. Then he saw a figure crouched on the floor, knees hugged to her chest, laughing like a child. He squinted. "Samantha, Sam, what are you doing here?" He looked into her eyes and knew immediately. This wasn't Samantha. Her face had gone white, her mouth curled in a crooked grin, her eyes rolled up. "Daniel. Daniel." She rasped and burst into a high, thin child's giggle. Behind her, a shape like Mrs. Parker sat on the stone step. Samantha whispered, She's sitting there." Daniel shouted for Duke. Duke ran over, grabbed Samantha's hand, and went pale. The protective bracelet was off. He strapped it back on while Daniel steadied Samantha's jerking body. Within seconds, her breathing evened out. The tension drained from her limbs. The next morning, Samantha woke in a different room. Everyone realized the situation had become serious. They kept her under observation to stabilize her mind. She remembered nothing. Daniel asked, "Why did you take off the bracelet?" "I told you to keep it on." She said that while changing, upset and distracted, she took it off and forgot to put it back. "Why would missing a bracelet let a spirit take me?" she asked. "Because you once betrayed your own conscience," Daniel said quietly. "That weakened your field. You lost protection and became vulnerable." From then on, they spoke plainly about the supernatural. Nurse Vanessa said, "If it doesn't involve us, it's best not to meddle. But if it touches patient safety, then we have to act. If the hospital is disturbed by this stuff, we can't control it." She explained there are two kinds of spirits. Wandering spirits, they drift, show up in thoughts or dreams, linger in places. Trapped spirits caught between the living and the dead, unable to move on. "Have you noticed anything odd in the room?" she asked. "Did the air change? Any unusual sounds?" "I hear water," Samantha said. "Not like the bathroom pipes, more like a river." Everyone went still. It matched the children's deaths, both drowned. "You've been seeing two kids running around the room, right?" Samantha said. "They're with you, with me. Why not with their mother?" Daniel asked. "They're with you because they want to help," she said. "Then why are they still here at the hospital? Why not go home with her?" "They try," Samantha said, "but they're anchored here." Everyone remembered a dream, two children racing around a room heavy with steam. Sometimes they went home, sometimes they circled the hospital and returned. But they weren't following their mother, as people assumed. They were following Daniel. One of them had stepped on his legs, freezing them in place, just like the sleep paralysis episode. They weren't random ghosts. They were two souls begging for deliverance. Daniel grabbed his phone and called the monk. "They haven't moved on," he said. "They need help." No answer. He got the monk's address and ran there. A small house. Door locked. No sound inside. He turned to go when a young woman approached, wary and intense. "Who are you looking for? Who are you?" "I'm from the hospital," Daniel said. "I'm looking for the monk." "Why ask me about spirits?" She shot back. "Normal people don't go around talking about ghosts." "Are you calling me superstitious?" "I didn't say you're bad," he replied. "I'm trying to help Mrs. Parker." She faltered, stammering. "If you don't tell the truth, I'll call the police," Daniel said. "Fine. I'll talk." She blurted. She was Amanda Tran, Mrs. Parker's niece. The man who lived here was Mr. Parker, the new husband. She hadn't been able to reach her aunt for days. The house stayed locked. She suspected Mrs. Parker was hiding something. Something tied to the two children. They pieced it together. 2 children had gone missing, one about 4 years earlier, the other 5 months ago. It matched Daniel's dreams, 2 small figures running back and forth. Amanda added more. Mrs. Parker hadn't been working the way she claimed. She'd been partying, spending, dressing up with the wrong crowd. Her life had carried pressure debts. A dead husband, then she spiraled. When the first child fell face down into water and died, fear consumed her, and she hardly watched the second. The second child died the same way, face down in the bathroom basin. People thought the first was an accident. But when the second died the exact same way, the pattern snapped into focus. If the first was accidental, a mother would be hypervigilant next time. You don't make the same mistake. A terrible thought formed in Kelly Tran's mind. Horror and fury mixed in her eyes. She said the words Daniel couldn't process. Mrs. Parker did it on purpose. Both of them. Daniel's legs went weak. Yet every piece locked into place. 2 children. Both drowned, both held down, both in the same position. They had raced between home and hospital begging for help, unable to speak or be understood. Finally, they found Daniel. They carried with them the last moments of their lives' water. Cold, terror spirits, saturated with damp. Heavy air, unable to rise from the basin. Daniel and Amanda called the police. Days later, the unthinkable surfaced. The officers told them Mrs. Parker had been arrested. Daniel picked up the phone. "Hey, Daniel." They booked her. He was shattered. Not just by the arrest, but by the motive. Insurance money. She confessed. The policy for the first was about $80,000 USD. If he died, I'd get it. If both died, I'd get over $160,000. I had nothing. I needed the money. I spent it, and then I needed more. So I did it again. I staged it to look like an accident. I know I'm a monster. I was empty. I'm sorry. Daniel stood in silence, his faith in people crumbling. The poor mother everyone pitied had murdered her own children for cash. Now he understood why the children couldn't leave the hospital. Their killer was their mother. All Daniel could do was pray that they would be released, that they'd reach a gentler place, that they would no longer run, shivering in that hateful breath of water. That night, he dreamed of them, against 2 kids, racing down the hospital corridor under the buzzing neon. Tiny smiles flickering as if to say goodbye. At the end of his story, Daniel faced the camera. "In this world," he said softly, Some people wear the title mother, but their hearts have rotted away long ago. Those children never wanted to live in that little house. Sirens wailed outside. At the hospital gate, two small shapes held hands and turned toward the lights, as if walking somewhere else. Not long after, Mrs. Grace Parker, Mrs. Parker's mother, sat on the stone steps, sobbing. Duke drove Daniel home, but Daniel stared through the windshield, numb. "You okay, man?" Duke asked. "I don't know," Daniel said. "Don't zone out behind the wheel," Duke warned. "That's how people get hurt." Daniel looked over. Duke's badge read, the same last name as Monk Gabriel's family, the same middle name as an old guard with a possession on record. Daniel forgot to breathe. For a second, everything twisted into a labyrinth.